No. I think we can agree the world has gone batshit crazy. The line between reality and complete nonsense has been blurred like never before. And we're here to call it out for what it is. The things we're encouraged to digest in the media, from politicians, from other leaders, from Hollywood, and just about anyone else, is pure drivel. World wars, 9/11, COVID, military-industrial complex, the economic system, corruption. You'll get another perspective on some of the most controversial topics facing the globe. This is Studio Phoenix. And now your hosts, Phoenix and Vic.
What's going on, guys? Studio Phoenix, episode 7. I'm Phoenix.
I'm Vic.
And we've got a guest with us today.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
That is Dylan, a friend of ours. Got some sound in the back there. There we are. Thank you. So today we got a couple of headlines coming up. Talk about a few of those. Majority of the podcast is going to be about the origins of human civilization. So we'll try to go down maybe a rabbit hole or two there. We'll come back here in a few, maybe pay a couple of bills, and we'll be right back. Welcome back in Studio Phoenix, episode 7. What's going on, Vic?
Oh, not a lot. Glad to be here this morning. It's definitely cooling off. It was
Yeah, man, it was like 40, like 2 degrees last night. It was great.
This morning, I live about 25 minutes. It's a 25-minute drive if I go the back road, the little 2-lane road. This morning was just great. You know, it's
like a perfect fall morning.
Yeah, it's definitely autumn. Everything's kind of got a glow about it.
Yeah. It's like you smell the campfires everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
And the weird fall smells that you almost never smell.
Even the grass on
than now.
The grass on the side of the highway is starting to change. It's just it's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, it's always mine too. I guess the football going on and all the food from the holidays and just the vibe is different.
Yeah, the vibe is it's very cozy.
It's almost like a release. It's like the end of the year.
Yes.
I don't know, time to kind of hang out and celebrate.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
We're getting out of that.
I don't know how to describe it.
That oppressive heat, you know, that just it's.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it feels. Well, what headlines you have?
I've got a few wrote down here. Obviously, number one, the biggest one I think everybody's paying attention to is the bridge explosion, the Crimean bridge explosion.
Yeah, so there's a bridge that was built. I think it opened about 2 years ago from the Russian mainland to the Crimean Peninsula. It's I think it's like an 8-lane highway with railway capability. So it's a pretty big supply hub and personnel. You know, there's a lot that goes on through that bridge.
Yeah. So Russia has come out. And the foreign ministry stated, and this is a quote from RT. It said, "Foreign ministry states that the terrorist, and they use quotation marks, attack on the Crimean Bridge is proof of the Ukrainians' terrorist nature, and they think it was a truck bomb."
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times. I think it was a truck bomb, and it looked like it came from underneath the road.
Okay,
it was weird. I don't know if they have like lanes underneath.
Yeah,
it was kind of strange.
No. And let me be clear, I'm not drawing a conclusion from this. I mean,
Oh, yeah, who knows?
I'm not saying that Ukraine sanctioned this. There's extremists in every
Well,
country.
it would be definitely in their favor, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless it could be a false flag event or something like that.
Yeah, there's just a lot we don't know. But this is the headline. This is what I took from it. So
Yeah.
have you got anything on headlines?
Well, I was looking at that, and then also on the war front, which a lot of people I'm sure are unaware of, about the whole Poseidon missile situation. Have you heard about that, Vic?
I have. We talked about it briefly, but and you brought up some aspects of that particular weapon that I was totally oblivious to. So.
Well, I honestly was until a couple of days ago as well. So the apparently the world's largest sub ever was just launched. I think there's supposed to be a fleet of 6 of them.
Wow.
Finally, but I think right now there's just one. So it launched, and it's I guess it's special because obviously it's the biggest one ever, and it probably has all kinds of new technologies. But it carries 6 Poseidon missiles.
Oh wow!
Which are torpedoes. They're not typical missiles. They're torpedoes that can travel basically around the world for years if they had to.
Indefinitely.
Because they have nuclear engines.
Yes,
Oh,
they
okay.
have a. Yeah.
So they have basically an unlimited power supply. So they could lie dormant is the thing.
Yes.
And so
they could
nuclear weapon underneath the ocean causes tsunamis.
So they can just,
Lord.
which would be a radioactive tsunami. So this thing apparently is crazy.
they can drop this thing and let it lay at the bottom of the ocean for 50 years.
They could. It could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a nuclear drone. It really is what it is.
Yeah.
An underwater nuclear drone.
Do we have any idea about payload?
I've read anywhere from 2 megatons
Okay.
to 200 megatons, which would be 4 times the size of the Tsar bomb,
Bomba.
which was the biggest one ever.
Yeah, and we were talking about that Friday, and I thought a 200 megaton detonation at the bottom of the ocean could, in theory, send a shockwave through and through the planet.
Oh yeah, keep in mind the Tsar bomb, the King bomb, in I think it was like 1964,
Okay.
roughly. I may have the year wrong, but it was detonated on a large kind of Siberian island far north in northern Russia. Right, I think it's like permafrost up there.
Yeah.
And it was detonated, sometime in the morning. And roughly like 20 minutes later, or I may have the timing confused, I don't know. But in Norway and Sweden, windows were broken out from the shockwave.
Oh my God.
Like, I think it's like 1,700 kilometers away or something like that. Maybe much
crazy.
further. I can't remember. But either way, it's insane. And that was only 50
Yeah.
megatons. So 200 megatons, I mean, I don't even know how you can really imagine what that would be.
You know what I don't get?
I've never seen one personally, right? I've only seen them on TV, so I can't. I have no real scale.
This baffles me. I mean, we're all just floating on this rock together. I never understood humans' willingness to play with forces that could destroy this. I mean,
Yeah, that's
why?
true.
What is the point?
Power, I think,
Go back to fighting with swords if it's that important.
or the
I mean,
or the ability to harness, or I think some of it is discovery. People just being curious.
technology has to advance, but why would you want to try to implement those things into
Anything?
anything? Yeah, why?
I think
It's
it's in
such a destructive force.
It is, but I think it's in our nature to want to harness and control whatever power. Like we're in the process now of harnessing the power of the earth, right?
Right.
Whether it's nuclear or geothermal. I mean, we're to the point, technological wise, where we are harnessing things. We're tapping into the energy of everything around us.
We're trying to become a type 1 civilization? Or
Yes,
type-
So Michio Kaku says that currently we are a type 0 civilization,
Yes.
but we're close to a 1,
Yes.
which means we will have harnessed the power of our planet.
And thank you for that. I could not remember his name.
Yeah, he's a physicist.
I think Joe Rogan's had him on a few times.
has.
Yes, he has a book, and I have the book. It's the physics of the impossible. So it's actually a really interesting book.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting person.
Yeah, I like some of those guys. I like him a lot better than what's the one guy's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes.
You don't like him?
I did, but the more I watch him, he seems really arrogant and kind of
is.
condescending, and he seems
is.
more of an entertainer to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what's always it's always seemed that way.
That
the way
condescending-
they push him so much too.
You're exactly right, but the condescending, I always kind of thought that was like maybe part of his act. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
persona.
but I kind of
Yeah.
did too until I just felt it was more genuine. It's like this
Yeah.
guy seems more genuinely kind of a jerk.
It might be.
I mean, I don't know. That's how he comes across. I don't know if that's
He's very
true. You know,
intelligent,
no
though, yeah.
disrespect. You know.
He is very intelligent, though.
Yeah, he is.
So something else that's not related to any mass global political scenario, but CNN touched on Hurricane Ian, and it says much of the damage will not be covered by insurance, and I see that more and more now.
Yeah, I've actually heard that a lot of places in Florida you can't even get insurance. Well, you can get insurance, but you can't get flood insurance. Now they do. Flood insurance is a thing, but it's usually not apparently part of most homeowners insurance policies.
No, it's not. Same as
Or
earthquake.
some automotive policies apparently.
And earthquake insurance.
And that's right. Yeah. So these coverages exist, but just not for Florida. So it's like, okay, why would you ever take the chance then? Because the chances are so high. That's why they won't insure it in the first place.
I see it.
It sucks. I mean, it's nobody's fault.
No, I see it more and more.
There's a lot of a risk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. People still watch CNN?
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I don't.
in order-
Not many apparently.
in order to get
That's true.
a more well-rounded podcast, we do.
No,
sure.
information
That's the best way to.
No,
do
that's
it.
true.
from all corners.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely look at or
Yeah,
try to follow all of those avenues just so I can get. Yeah, I want to know
I-
all points of view
I found that interesting.
you're not educated.
and being
or informed at least.
Or-
Maybe not
yes.
educated because they only tell you
and
Yeah, that is true.
The nature of our day jobs,
whatever they want.
The nature of our day jobs require us to be very much part of the whole insurance world. So,
Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting. I see more and more of that's not covered. That's not covered. Where in years past it was always like, well, your car's destroyed. Here's a check.
I did a calculation. I think I told you about it a few months ago. I was just randomly thinking about it, and I did like a kind of an average of how much money I've spent every month on car insurance my whole life since I was roughly, I guess, 16, right? And it was over $60,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that's they've obviously increased a lot, like in the past couple of years, but that's a lot of money you spend. And if you have a lot of wrecks, it's going to be worth it. But if you don't,
It's
like, where's the? You're just,
that's their profit margin.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
their
oh
profit
yeah. They
margin.
had just think about how much money they have to make.
Yeah.
On, I mean, how many people? I guess the ratio of people or insured vehicles to how many actually have claims, it's got to be so small.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I've probably gotten my money's worth out of the insurance companies just because I've had quite a few wrecks.
Yeah.
I had a motorcycle wreck.
And I guess
last
so. Maybe it
October.
all balances out, right? But of course, they wouldn't be in business if they didn't make money. Which, of course, I mean, they have to make money. You want them to do that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting.
That's the point of
though.
capitalism, right?
You were talking about things not being covered by insurance. When I had that wreck last year, I was knocked unconscious and apparently had some seizures, but I don't remember anything. Apparently, they air evac'd me.
Oh, you don't remember anything after?
No, I don't. I don't even remember like the wreck itself. I don't remember seeing the spot that I supposedly wrecked
Oh,
it
so-
or nothing.
So tell people about your wreck. So I didn't really know much about it.
I'm just a regular guy working 9 to 5. I was working out at a factory that makes cabinets, and I was on my way home from work one evening, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't remember. It still baffles me to this day. But I don't know if I hit the pavement or what, but I ended up with some pretty bad head trauma and had some seizures. And
Oh wow!
I guess they had.
I didn't know it was that
air evac-
bad.
Oh, it was pretty bad. I almost lost my eye. I almost
man.
lost my foot. Apparently they air evac'd me though, but I don't remember any of this.
Were you on your motorcycle? The
Yeah.
one you have now?
That first Harley that I got.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks after I got it, and
Oh, that bike you have now is different.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one I ended up getting after the whole ordeal.
Okay.
Yeah, my stupid ass went back to another bike.
Well, if that's your nature, I understand.
But apparently though, the being air evac'd, I guess that doesn't get covered by insurance. I thought it would.
I thought it is too.
Well,
Yeah,
it's its
no.
own. AirVac is its own policy,
I got a bill in the mail for 120
Oh,
grand.
that's true.
and you got to be careful too because.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah,
So a lot of people.
they cover if you have to pay other people's medical
Yeah.
bills.
Oh,
if it's
they-
your fault, that's right.
Yeah. So they.
Yeah.
So AirVac.
If you have full coverage.
Yeah, so AirVac, there was a guy over where I'm from, just about 20 minutes away, had a heart attack. Responsible guy, life insurance, health insurance, AirVac insurance. AirVac wasn't available, so they call Life Flight, which he did not. So he gets a bill for $80,000.
Like, did they ever expect you to pay that?
They sent me one for 120,000.
No.
Nobody pays that
No,
stuff.
I guess they hope you'll get.
I mean, insurance does.
Yeah.
So I guess that you know
But if it was insurance, they'd write off 60%.
they would have to.
Definitely.
But
That's not a sketchy system at all, is it?
Like, if I go rent a helicopter for 2 hours, is it going to cost me $60,000?
no, I think
You know what I mean?
It's $5,000 an hour.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's a little more reasonable, I guess,
Yeah.
for an emergency situation.
If they were a little more reasonable with their prices, I'd be a little more apt to pay it.
Isn't it crazy? Like, we ever thought about that? We're talking about hospital, like medical care, like emergency care, and we're talking about prices.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing where, sadly, I'm a little bit more, I guess, I have a socialized mind more.
Well, you've been
I'm
you've
with
been
you.
places
You
where
understand
this
what I mean?
isn't a thing.
Like, yeah, we're one of where there aren't many places left where you have to pay for health care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why is
It's one of those things that I think seems to work in other places, and I wonder if we just gave it a try, just to see how it would go. Because I think everybody deserves the same medical care, regardless of how much money you
Well,
make.
the first thing-
that's the problem I have with it.
first thing you
it's
would
a
have to do-
two-tiered system,
Yes.
just like the legal system.
The first thing you have to do is liquidate pharmaceuticals. Now we need those smart scientists making medications, but the corporate structure needs
Yeah.
to go. You get rid of that.
Those pharmaceutical companies, man, like, man, do you watch TV? Like, every other
Every
commercial
commercial.
is some new pill that if you listen all the way to the end of the commercial, it tells you all the ways that it could kill you.
Oh yeah.
I want to know who directs those commercials. By the way,
He's
have you seen it? This is like stock footage of the perfect American family.
Man, it's like it's yeah.
It
Like,
makes
where do
me-
these guys live?
It makes me feel good.
If they're going to be charging people that kind of money though for medical bills, then why do they need government funding at all for healthcare?
Oh, it's always for research, right? And then it's they
If they're
get they
charging
technically
people that
get
much.
government funding because the government is paying for the government is paying some people's policies, right? The people that get free health care. So technically, how do you decide what is funding for research and what is just paying someone's bill? Mm-hmm. Right? It's kind of a gray area to me.
It is my theory that a person actually only needs a very few number of medications to live if they
I have none.
If they have a healthy,
Other than like a pain pill or a muscle relaxer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they live a somewhat healthy lifestyle, many of these medications
Well, they're just Band-Aids.
are just to offset the side effects of an unhealthy lifestyle.
Well, that's right. That's right.
and then
it's
you
like,
have another pill to offset the side effects of
Yeah.
the other pill.
Yeah, it's like if I said, if I'm a doctor and you come to me with cancer. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. No. Let me give a better example. If I'm a doctor and you come to me with sores all over your body,
Yes.
and you don't know what's caused them, they suck, they itch, whatever, and I give you a package of Band-Aids, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, what caused this? Like, I want this to be cured. Oh, no, that's not what I do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't prevent. I just treat.
Yeah.
But what's crazy though too is you know what they would charge you for that box of Band-Aids?
Oh yeah,
They
$10,000.
charged me $50 for an Ace bandage one time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my lord!
Like, and we think that the healthcare system is so great. Now, surgeries and things. There's a lot of great technology. There are, a lot of things have obviously helped a lot of people. But I just mean the
Within the-
profit aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not discounting the talents of medical professionals. I'm sorry. I'm just saying the corporate structure that kind of engulfs them is kind of disgusting.
When you have a board
Agreed.
at the hospital,
Yeah.
you know there's a problem.
Yes.
It's not called a hospital president because it
That's what you
sounds
say.
too corporate.
So
So,
now we have
they're
a-
called hospital
Yeah,
administrators,
so now
right?
if we have a board, do we have shareholders?
Well, I'm sure with it, like the large hospital systems, probably.
Yeah.
Like the ones that have multiple hospitals, probably
Yeah.
do. Would have to. They're probably corporations. I don't know how that works.
Well, okay, so I mean, there was a few headlines, nothing worthy of discussing other than,
It's like, there's not much news
Like
in the country right now. Like in the U.S., it's all just politics and entertainment.
entertainment. Yeah.
Like, what are the big stories
I
other
think-
than the economy is obviously bad?
Yeah.
Stock markets back and forth all the time.
No real changes.
Is Joe Biden still saying it's not a recession?
I don't know. The other day he fell off the stage like talking about remember the Alamo as he fell.
He fell again?
Now he did.
No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh.
Now, ABC News, I've got it pulled up here. It says Biden's warning of nuclear Armageddon, they're using quotations,
he did say that. Yeah.
reflects the stakes with Russia, not an imminent threat. So I guess I didn't see the speech, but I guess they're maybe backpedaling a little bit.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, wouldn't most presidents say, "Well, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. This guy will be, brought to justice or whatever. We'll discuss peace." No, but instead he's like, "Yep, Armageddon's coming." It's just odd.
That's a little
He's
scary.
He's very much he's got this tough guy persona, but as he ages,
Like, yeah, he's always screaming and preaching. It's really weird.
Yeah, and
he's like he's not very motivational
and
or comforting at all.
and it's like, dude, nobody is scared of you. You're the loudest one in the room, and
Oh yeah,
nobody's
that's
scared
right.
of you.
Yeah, usually the loudest one is the weakest one. That's right.
I don't think anybody's ever been scared of him. Have you ever watched videos of him in the past?
You know I think you should be scared of him because of the
Oh, he's dirty for sure.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
the power that this family apparently has, and
Yeah.
all these political families.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I want to throw
like
this out
mob
here.
level stuff.
I want to throw this out here. We have the same level of distrust for many Republican,
Of course.
quote unquote,
yeah,
aristocrats.
right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Remember that political system as a whole, all of it, every bit of it. Legal system too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I guess we have another voice in the room with us today.
Yeah. So I think he introduced himself already, but this is a friend Dylan, so he's hanging out with us today. I wouldn't call him a guest. I would just say he's another
right.
co-host. So
Yeah.
let's go that route.
Oh, well, I
There you go.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Glad you're here.
I appreciate the hospitality, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, he's in our little studio here slash.
It's a nice setup you got. I
Thanks,
like it.
thanks. Slash movie room slash video game room.
This is a
I'm
man
sorry,
cave and a half.
game room.
Game room.
It's a family cave.
Oh, a family. Okay.
that's
I like
that's
that.
what I wanted
like
out here.
that.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Yep.
You're,
Right,
you're
so-
a very family dude, ain't you? Very family oriented.
yes.
I like that.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope I am. I try to be.
That's commendable, man. That's
Oh.
respectable.
That's how it should be. I want them to be that way when they get older. So
Right.
I think that's important.
Set
It's a
the
good example to set.
you set the standard, and they'll follow.
That's right. That goes for everything. Mm-hmm. Yes. So origins of humans, human civilization, humankind. This may be probably religious in some points. So of course we're not going to attempt or intend to offend anybody, but try to keep everything in balance here. Yeah. So with religious talk, we just say what we think, what we feel, and
Yeah.
try to not ever insult anybody or anything.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Respect all the way around.
Oh, of course. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
all just speculation.
Yeah.
Well,
extent.
ultimately, yeah. I think that's the point of us all sitting here is we're talking about basically all the stuff that we know that we don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
Sadly, we don't know what we don't know, though.
Yep.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
There's some stuff we know we don't know, but it's a weird way to think about it. But so Adam and Eve, right? Like that's the first thing a lot of people think about, and I think a lot of people when they grow up, that's what they're taught.
Yes.
Right. So I've always been struck at people's I've been interested in how they feel about that story. Like when you hear the story, then or now, like how does it make you feel? Like does it sound like it could be possible to you? Does it have that truth ring to it? You know what I mean?
I grew up
You guys
in
know
a
what I'm talking
Pentecostal
about.
church.
Okay.
So I've had that reamed down my throat for till I was probably 14, and then I stopped going.
Why'd you stop going?
Really, I kept seeing hypocrites everywhere within the church, not just my church, but every church that I had tried to go to. I would run into multiple hypocrites that would just try. It was hard. It's hard to explain, man. They just weren't good people. You could tell.
Like do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And be sure to And be sure to drop your tithe off at the office on your way out.
Yeah. Be sure to leave that money though.
Yeah, and I think that can apply to like every human, every group of humans, right?
Yeah.
There's always some, but it's weird because it's like you go to church, and I used to go to church too, to feel comforted, and people. It's weird. You expect all these people at your church to walk the walk too, right? Because that's the point. Is I guess to go there, and a bunch of people do a good thing all together and be part of the same mindset, right? And there's really nothing wrong with that, as long as you're doing it at least for you, for the right reasons. I would say that you feel the right reasons, because that can go down a deep path. But just that you're trying to make the world a better place, I guess. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I was thinking about something. Like you were saying a while ago, we don't know the things that we don't know, that the consciousness, they have the story of Adam and Eve and everything, but I believe that consciousness is where humanity started. I mean, you're not going to know the story of Adam and Eve, or be able to come up with a story, I should say, until you've got that consciousness. So what became before that?
You mean consciousness is like we were around before consciousness, or consciousness and us are the same thing? Because that tells you that there is an us.
Well, I'm saying until we developed the consciousness
to question where we came from. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. To question where we came from and to kind of step outside ourselves, we probably I don't see that we would have had the ability to even come up with the story of Adam and Eve like that. So I mean, there had to be something before that.
So would it make sense to say that?
Don't believe it.
Would it make sense to say that? Regarding consciousness, when we started thinking about things other than procreation, survival, and shelter. Well, no, not even shelter. Animals don't care about shelter. Well, they do to a certain extent.
They do.
Even then, though, you could still be conscious and be consciously doing those things to keep your family alive and stuff.
True. True.
I mean, you think about the Neanderthals. I mean, they were flint knapping.
Yeah.
Levain is a complicated technique, man. I'm capable of doing it myself, and it is very complicated. Yeah. I don't.
Here's my thought on that whole Neanderthal thing. Of course, I don't really have proof, but maybe that's the point, right? I'm using an example that a lot of people believe, and I probably believed for a while too, is the whole evolution story. Mm-hmm. So one of the rules of evolution is survival of the fittest, right? Mm-hmm. You only develop, the species that survive are the ones that develop the ability to kind of protect themselves and survive, right? They develop the skills necessary to survive.
Right.
To thrive, to procreate, to defend themselves, things like that. So we would, if everything is only based on that, why would we develop the ability to question where we come from? That is not an ability that you need to survive.
Exactly.
That comes from somewhere else, I feel. Mm-hmm. So that alone makes me completely distrust evolution. It makes no sense. That, and if we evolved from monkeys, then why are monkeys still here?
Yeah, why aren't they still
because
evolved?
They're a weaker species.
Yeah.
Right? Just some things about it don't make sense if you look at it from all perspectives.
Yeah.
Agreed.
100%.
Yep.
So what do you think about the Adam and Eve story, Vic?
Same as I'm the same as Dylan. I grew up in church. We've all heard the story. I don't know now, and now as I've gotten older, and looked into it, apparently there's another lady that nobody hears about, and her name was Lilith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was in the book of Enoch, right?
I believe.
I think that's what I've read.
Yeah. So
that was apparently the story. Adam's first wife.
Yeah,
but they left her out because she was out of the Bible because she was rebellious.
She was the serpent, supposedly.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I'm not educated in
interesting
theology
at all.
Like the serpent that spoke.
The few things that I have read
to Adam.
Potentially, I could. I mean,
interesting.
That would make sense. But the few things that I have read quoted that she was a serpent of some sorts. I don't.
So if I was a man in 300 AD or whenever they compiled the book that we know as the Bible,
333 or 383, I think. Yeah, one of those.
So if I'm a man sitting in a room with
Now that was the Council of Nicaea
Yes.
under the Emperor Constantine, and that's where they came together and decided upon the books that were going to be in the Bible.
Yeah.
Among apparently tens of thousands of books that exist,
Yes.
that's where they decided upon these 70 or so books.
So if I'm going to include a passage that commands wives to submit to their husbands, I am darn sure going to leave out a strong-willed, rebellious first woman.
So an equal to the man.
So question everything.
Yep.
It sounds like an equal to the man.
Yes.
Right? Like a really like a perfect relationship. Like the two of them together,
Yes.
they would kind of balance each other out. They would both
Yeah.
be strong in their
Absolutely.
own ways. Yeah, like that's how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's
I've always thought the same
that's
about
all
that
I'm-
story.
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. So from that, I've figured out question everything, and
yeah.
So I believe in in creation. I do. I don't believe in evolution, and that's just the way I feel about it.
You don't think we're some just cosmic accident?
No. I think it had a beginning, and I don't know what. If they say, well, if God exists, who created God?
Does God know where he came from?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Do you?
Yeah, hope we can someday, right?
Do you believe in God, or
Yes.
do you think maybe it could have possibly been extraterrestrial intervention?
I
Well, there could still be a God,
Well, that's
Yeah.
you are correct. Yes, I mean,
yeah.
even if
it would still be our God, anyways.
I
mean,
believe.
at least to us.
Yeah.
Maybe God is whatever he needs to be for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of civilizations.
But no,
think
I
that.
believe there's
Like the whole guy with the white beard,
yeah.
Yeah.
sitting, like God, like Zeus, right?
Yeah.
That was the image of Zeus is
So-
what we think
Yeah,
of
it
as
was.
God.
Yeah, and on that same point, have you seen the Netflix series Lucifer? I don't think
Yes.
you have.
Oh, that was on like ABC.
Was it?
I think it's the
Okay.
same show, but no, I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so on the show, Lucifer is obviously Lucifer.
Now, Lucifer or Satan. So we'll talk about the difference.
He's not a bad guy.
Okay.
It's
On
a
the
very
show,
good show.
it brings a different perspective. So
I'm only asking because I think the difference is important.
no, absolutely, he's not a bad guy. What I took from the show was that Lucifer himself was not inherently evil. People are evil, and his job was to punish those who were evil. And when you finally do meet God,
So he's like
he doesn't on the show. And like I said, it's just a TV show.
it's just his job.
but it makes just as much sense as somebody telling me about fire and brimstone.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It was just his role, and he didn't throw him into a lake of fire. These people were tormented by the things that they carried guilt for.
Yeah. Which I mean is really true in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
So he's not a bad
Mentally
guy.
anyway. Maybe spiritually too. Like you carry that stuff with you.
His role was to oversee the underworld. When you finally do meet God,
Like Hades.
yes, when you finally do meet
It's
God,
just his role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now him and his father had a falling out, and
Mm-hmm.
he was cast out.
Interesting how that same allegory exists in lots of religions too.
Yeah. So when people say, well, how come bad things happen? If there is a God, how come there's all these bad things? And when you finally do meet God in this series, it kind of resonated.
Oh,
with
God's
me.
in it too?
He shows up. He's like every father in this show. He's like every father. He wants his children to get along, but they're not going to.
He's not going to protect him from everything.
But he
Well, that's perfect. Yeah.
He loves all of his children equally, but he does not get
You have to make
involved.
mistakes. You have to learn. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have
And
to
like I
deal,
said,
deal with
I
hard
want
times. Yeah.
I want everyone listening to understand this is just a show. I understand that, but it does bring an
And a free
interesting-
advertisement, by the way, for this show, apparently. So, where's our money?
Yeah. So, but it does make
My
me,
address is.
It does make
Just kidding.
It does make me think, and then it's just it's a little 5-season show on a streaming.
I might check that
platform.
out.
But it just happened to be a catalyst to spark some thought on my part.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
hopefully other people.
So I mentioned the difference between Satan and Lucifer, at least from what I've read.
Yeah.
So Lucifer is what they call the morning star, right?
Yes.
The sun, basically. Lucifer means the light bringer, okay? Which would mean basically knowledge, okay? Also, if you are illuminated in light, right, then another way of saying you've been given knowledge. So that's where the whole Illuminati thing comes from. They're not Satanists. It's almost like they're Luciferians because there's a difference. It's not the red guy with the forked tail and the pitchfork and stuff, right? Yeah. It's just this rebellious guy who happens to have lots of knowledge and they are illuminated because they chose to listen to Lucifer.
Yes.
They have a knowledge that they otherwise wouldn't have had.
Yes, because they're...
So it's not, I wouldn't call it necessarily evil. It's just rebellious.
Yes.
Right? Like we all are as kids. Like if you think about it from that perspective, he's just rebelling against his father.
Even to this day, even to this day, when if I come to you and said, Phoenix, you're not going to do this, you're going to say, watch me.
Oh, of course, that's why I want to do it now.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah.
So,
you tell me I'm not going to do something. Well, I'm absolutely going to do it now. I wasn't going to before.
Stand back and watch. Or like the new. I love the new chart on TikTok. It says the guy standing in front of a graph, and he's like, "So as you can see, the more you f around, the more you're going to find out."
Yeah, that's right, for sure.
You know, I'm the same way. You tell me I'm not going to do something, I'm going to do it. But that's trying to like step out of yourself and take a look at that, though. That could also be easily manipulated.
Where does our rebellious nature come from?
I don't know.
Isn't that weird?
Maybe we're all our own master kind of thing. I am in control of my life.
Oh yeah, like there are people that believe that we are God, right? Now by that I mean all of us together. That kind of form a consciousness that is then capable of understanding what God is, right? There are so many interesting thoughts about those deep, I guess, feelings. They're almost feelings too, right?
Yeah.
Feelings and thoughts together, I think.
And it's interesting how it just is. It's not taught. It's the same. And
you can't teach me any. I mean, when I'm a baby or a kid, you can teach me, but later. You kind of have to teach yourself based off of your experiences and how you feel and maybe what you believe. But what you believe is, I don't know, maybe what you feel and what you believe is kind of has to be balanced more.
Yeah. And it may be programmed.
Where the two kind of meet together, where they feel like they're maybe more legit than something else.
Yeah. And like I said, it's interesting how it's there because you could tell a 2-year-old no, and they're going to look at you, do it anyway, and then when you start to walk towards them, they sit down because they know they're going to get spanked.
But isn't it weird too how you're almost proud of them when they're kind of rebellious?
A little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he ain't taking it.
Yeah.
I have my daughter turned 8, and we had her birthday party yesterday, and she.
Oh yeah, cool.
She tests me. But at the same
of course.
But at the same time, I tell people, and there are people that have made some comments about. She's like, they're like, well, she doesn't respect you. I said, well, she's going to need that fire, and I'm not going to put it out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
how it should be too.
Yeah, let me worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's me rebelling against their analysis.
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you something, man. She a pretty good kid? I mean, she tear the house up or anything like that?
No, she's a good kid.
Dude, I've been with women in the past, and their kids will outright tear the house up, screaming, running around, breaking windows out.
Breaking windows?
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. And you know
what in the world?
You know what they do about it?
Probably nothing.
Not a damn
And that's
thing.
why it's happening in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's great.
And you can't explain that to them, though, because they go, I'm an expert.
An expert?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
and what, having windows broken?
I've had a hand put in my face like that many times.
Hey, man, I'll tell you the first day, I'm an expert in nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
If you have a better way, show me.
I'm just dumb enough to be willing to try
I would be an expert in having ways of making sure my windows weren't broken, though. I'll guarantee you that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
your children have to be disciplined in some way.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yeah.
they won't be able to function.
Yeah, no, there's
That's a shame.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
it
I mean,
is.
I know what's going on. Of course, it's crappy to think about it. You know.
It is.
in respect to me and my daughter's dynamic, it's a very much pick your battle situation.
Yes.
She's
Sure.
she's an A student.
That's everybody in your life, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. She's an A
Yeah.
student. She keeps her room spotless. If she pops off, I'm just gonna let it go.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
unless
a
it's
good kid.
unless it's disrespectful.
Unless it's very disrespectful. Now she did get lit up last night because Megan was watching some Loretta Lynn thing. You know, Loretta Lynn passed away.
Oh, yeah, that's
which
right.
Which was my wife's hero.
That's sad.
And Macy said something about, what do I care about that old lady? I mean, Megan was like, oh hell no.
I mean, that's a good point, though.
She's an A student, keeps her room clean. She's
Yeah.
a way better kid than I was.
Yeah.
Like,
Good Lord.
of course, it sucks when someone dies, but it's like people
And
die
that's
all the
what I-
time.
and
Like,
that's what I told her. I
why
said-
be sad
I said
more
it's
than
I said it's always
you know,
sad when someone
the whole
dies.
celebrity thing, which we talk about? It kind of sucks.
Yeah, but anyway, so
Yeah.
back to our theory on our origins. No, I think there was a creation. I don't believe that we were just a random gathering of cells and
I don't either.
today and I brought this.
I
up
understand why
earlier.
people do, but
Yeah.
I don't.
And I brought this up earlier in the week. If that happened, and that is a thing, you know, it's a miracle. So why was my destiny to come from that to a place now where I have to, work and do all, we seem like we should be doing more wonderful things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so my wife and I talk about that stuff all the time. Like, is this how things were meant to be?
Yeah.
You know, just the cycle of,
Yeah.
of going to work,
Yeah. Not that
making
life is,
somebody else money. I mean, most
not that life
people.
is, not that life is bad. We have
No,
I have
no.
a great life.
But there are times when you just like, why is it that we wish we could live on a beach in a hut with nothing
Yeah.
and just live with you know what I mean? Why is it that we want that for ourselves? Is that what we're supposed to be doing anyway?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And then people that enjoy a certain degree of success, when you talk to them, and from the outside looking in, they have everything that they could want, but then they say, man, it was so much better when we had no money.
That's right.
It was
It
just
is.
the two of us, and
Yes.
we had nothing. And
My daughters have actually said, well, not exactly that, but when my wife and I met, and we had less money and things, and we lived in a smaller home, and everybody was closer, and maybe we did more stuff together. And they say that they miss those times more. So I totally understand that, and I feel the same way.
yeah,
Maybe also it could be possibly a desire to get out of the system that we've built to create comfort for ourselves. I mean,
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what I've experienced in the world is like the poor. I've met some of the happiest yet the poorest people on earth, and it's weird how that works. I think
yeah,
it's like the simpler your life is, the happier you are. It's weird how that works.
It's hard to say this, but I've been on death's doorstep a few times, man, and I feel like I feel like everybody should be at least once.
You learn a
because
lot about yourself.
That's the awakening you need to realize how precious life is. I mean, if you wake up and you're breathing in the morning, you need to be happy. There ain't no sense in having a bad day because it could be worse.
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that goes back to my gratitude comment a few weeks ago. If you can find that a little bit every day, man, your day is going to be a lot better. Mm-hmm. And your life, if you can do it enough, I think.
Just be thankful to wake up breathing, man, and that if you can find the positivity to have a good mood going into your day, promise it's going to go great.
yep,
I think that has something to do with creation as well, or at least what you say, Vic, creation being special, right? Because where does gratitude come from? Where does the idea of something being positive come from and negative? And why does positive always feel better?
Well,
Yet negative feels worse,
Yeah.
but we love the power of the negativity.
Good question.
yeah. So kind of like a you have to embrace the dark in order to show the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in order to understand and appreciate the positive things in your life, you have to live through the negative.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to realize that.
And maybe that's
You can't always take the easy road, and you
no,
shouldn't.
If it's easy, it's probably not right.
Yeah,
Maybe
if you have a choice.
Yeah.
You don't always have a choice, but
Maybe that's the problem, though. Maybe everybody's shooting for the easy road and they don't have any struggle anymore, so they don't
Absolutely.
realize how
That
good
is the
they've got
problem.
it.
We've talked about
Absolutely.
that on the podcast.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Not that I'm the judge to decide what this word really means, but how many people would a regular person consider to be unproductive in this country? There's probably a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that word is what it is. You know, do you do anything with your life, or do you just sit?
Yeah.
Do you produce anything?
I know a lot of people that live off the system and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I will not lie.
Some people need to. I think there are times when the government help is okay.
We have to take care of people who are
Women and children, especially.
Yes, someone who is not capable of taking care of themselves. Maybe that's for a short period of time. Maybe it's
not forever, but yes, especially women and children. I agree with that.
I am not the most ambitious person in the world, but guaranteed, not once in my life have I ever received any sort of assistance from the government. I've never needed them to hold my head one time.
Yeah.
Even stimulus checks, I've never gotten a one of those.
That's pride.
Never a single one.
That's good.
Pride is a good thing.
Yeah.
And in a lot of respects. Maybe some not, but yeah, you have to have pride in yourself and I guess discipline enough.
You know what though? I think I did file for one of the stimulus checks, but I never did get it.
Well, you didn't.
So,
they were giving that to everybody though. It wasn't like you had to be in a different status.
It was also like the first one that they gave out. I was doing that like last year when I filed my taxes.
That was like 2 years ago, right? When those things were coming in, stimulus checks.
Oh, man.
Did you know, in speaking of stimulus checks and money, we didn't really touch on it the other day, but 80% of all the money we've ever issued, and I say issued because like we talked about, it's not all paper, right? A lot of it is just electronic.
Yep.
But 80% of all the money ever issued, American money, has been issued in the last 2 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That is why there's so much inflation, because there are so many more dollars, they have less value.
I didn't realize it was that much.
And you couple that with a supply crisis, so that is also why things go up. There's less of a thing. So the prices go up conversely to the dollar being more, and it's worth less.
It will adjust
So
itself.
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I really need to educate myself so bad.
Education is relative, though.
I get caught up going to work. I just don't have the time.
Well, everybody has their things they're interested in and things they like. You know, some people just are fine without that. And sometimes I wish I was, because knowing so much about what's going on and seeing how, I guess, the direction of things is getting bad, it's kind of a burden. You know, the knowledge and experience can be their own burden as well.
It can. I try to keep it simple, man. If I got time to ride my motorcycle.
Not that I'm like saying it's a burden, like, oh, poor me. I'm just saying that.
We understand.
But it is something you start to carry with you, and it changes over time.
Yeah.
You see things.
It's
in
a good
different
thing, though.
light, and it weighs
Absolutely.
on you, for sure.
So, Dylan, earlier you mentioned aliens, man. What's your thought on aliens with respect to humans?
Man, I'm not the typical quack job that thinks that aliens are little green guys floating around or anything like that. But I mean, really, anything that anybody has is just a theory. You know, anything could have happened. I'm not honestly too sure about aliens.
Do you think that they could exist? Like when you see a I guess a representation or a drawing of like a typical alien, right? Like say a gray with the gray skin and the black football eyes. Like what do you think about that image?
That just looks like us further down the evolutionary chain, if that's the origins.
Yeah,
of man,
yeah.
you know?
So for instance, this is.
I don't think that the universe is ever expanding, right?
Well, that's what we're told.
How in the hell are we the only planet that has any form of life on it?
Like the Goldilocks planet, right?
Yeah, there's no way.
That we know of.
There's no way. There's like, what is it? I forget what the number was, like 200 and something Earth-like planets that they found within, I can't even remember what it said. It's been so long since I read the article.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 200 and something planets that could potentially support life. There has to be something out there. And I'm not saying that they're like visiting us, you know, trying to intervene in what we've got going on. I wouldn't think they would really give a shit what we would have going on our little rock floating through the universe.
And also, in fairness, I don't think, me personally, I can't prove that there are rocks and planets and things floating through space anyway. So I just want to point that out too.
That is,
to keep everything fair.
We're taking their word for it.
Hey, that's what they tell me. and I've believed that for most of my life. I simply want to say we can't prove that's either way. Not you and me and whoever else listening.
No.
We have no way of actually proving that.
No.
I'd like to go to
I
Mars.
say that with
Elon
the
Musk.
Bible. I say that with any science book, any
Absolutely.
Bible, anything that I read, see. Unless I see it or touch it myself, I'm not sure about it.
And
That's all I'm saying.
And that is
Agreed.
the very essence of what we do here.
That's my
question
point. That's
things
right.
From every angle,
Yep.
and we give it a fair shake. Now, my belief is of creation. I actually cheated a little bit on this topic. I reached out.
You cheated?
I did.
Oh,
I reached out to
Man.
getting fancy up in here.
I reached out to a scientist on the matter, a person, and in the spirit of privacy, I'm just going to say, this person used to be my neighbor.
Okay.
They are a professor of biology now.
Used to be, neighbor.
Yeah, when I grew up,
Okay.
they moved in across the road from my mom and dad's house for a short time. But my mother and them are still acquaintances. But biology professor, apparently like a pretty high up in the biology department, and they told me to look up something called endosymbiotic theory.
Okay.
And from
Sounds very biological.
yeah, so I know I'm not going to do this justice, but this isn't my wheelhouse. So I read the article, and what I got from it was something like 1.5 billion years ago, we started having cells, larger cells, consuming smaller cells. But the smaller cells weren't destroyed, they were carried. So the small cell is an energy source for the large large cell is protection for the small cell, and then an even larger cell, and eventually everything we see around us. And that's what I got from it. And
So, is this the protoplasmic goo that that life sprang from, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The stories you've
Yeah.
heard about,
And in the spirit of fairness,
like the accidental
Yeah.
fact that life just appeared from this,
Yeah.
I guess, prehistoric sludge.
yeah, and,
Okay.
and if I've missed,
I guess.
and if I've missed the mark, I'm sure.
No, I mean,
I'm sure this person will call me, and if they correct me, I'll bring it up.
okay, yeah, sure.
Again, but that's what I got out of it. And like I said, in the spirit of fairness, because I have what I believe, and this person has told me, I teach from the book. We don't bring in
This
religious-
person you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This
They have a
person-
textbook or
their class. They teach from the book,
Okay.
and everybody's religious opinions are respected.
that would be nice if it was left out, right?
yeah, it's respected.
At least for this kind of discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's gonna ridicule anybody else. We stick to the book. This is what it says, and we move on.
You know what I find interesting about that, though?
What?
That in itself is a religion.
Yes, science is a religion.
It is.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
You're
because we're putting our faith in something
that's right.
that put us where
I think
we
that's
are.
what religion is.
Yeah.
Is a belief in something that you can't prove.
Yeah, yeah.
Really. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of science that can't be proven.
Oh yeah, there's still.
I mean, you can make an equation for anything, right? That doesn't really prove anything.
no.
Just I find that interesting that
It's very
an
interesting.
equation can show proof.
Yes.
But only in theory.
In theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, just in the spirit of fairness, I have creation on the right. I reached out to a scientist for the evolutionary.
Okay, cool. No, yeah.
The evolutionary side of it, and interesting read. I'm glad they suggested it.
Now, and I've always thought that was interesting too, but so what caused the coalescence of those cells to begin with in this theory? Because that's what I've always wondered about these stories, and I always found them interesting, and I used to believe some of them. Maybe some of them I still believe. But what was the cause of this situation? That's what they never really give you,
Yeah, that's
because you can infer anything into that.
yeah. Like I said,
You see what I mean?
Not really my wheelhouse.
Oh no, I understand. No, I'm asking your perspective.
Oh yeah. So that we could go further back to that. So this endosymbiotic theory happened. What was before that?
Trillions. Yeah. What was before that? Mm-hmm. Is this just another lifeless ball that this just has happened to? Yeah, that's what you're
true.
saying, right?
Yeah, this is
Because if so,
infinite.
then what was before?
Exactly, which is the same question that they're like.
And is nothing something? Seriously?
Yeah.
You have to think about it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Like Never-Ending Story, the nothing, remember?
It's
So-
the absence of something. I mean,
So maybe
so it
we,
is-
so maybe instead of exploring the mysteries of what we can't we can't do anything about it, maybe we should focus on things that we can do something about.
Like what?
Let's take on some pretty dark stuff. Let's end child trafficking. Let's end abuse.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's instead of sending $180 billion worth of rockets for a proxy war, why don't we send some MREs to people starving to death?
Yeah.
It's an excellent idea.
It's often been said that there's enough food and resources on this planet to feed everybody every day.
Yeah, and when we do
Yet so many people go hungry.
and when we do that,
I think that's a problem.
let's not record it. Let's not make it a propaganda for the United States.
Yeah.
Why don't we just say, hey man,
Like we deserve some reward
Yeah, yeah.
for it.
Why
I mean, it's a good thing if that's what happens.
why don't we say, hey,
But if that's our role, then why do we deserve admiration for it?
yeah, we've got plenty here. Take this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Like in the big cities and stuff, I've traveled a lot. I've been all over the country. All these homeless people that they'll get this van and drive around with these sack lunches and hand all this stuff out.
Yeah, I've seen that.
What
Yeah.
about all these abandoned buildings and stuff? Couldn't they be leasing some of those and maybe renting some places out, giving some people some shelter?
I think a lot of those kind of non-governmental programs, the charity-based ones, I think a lot of them do that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those shows like Restaurant Impossible stuff where those shows are great, like Robert Irvine. But I've seen this one where they go into this building that they kind of have been leasing. And they've kind of been fixing it up as a shelter. It's got a couple of rooms in it and this little kitchen. But a lot of government programs have done that. They I guess obviously it's very expensive to renovate an entire building.
Yeah, it's good to see that.
And then
I didn't know.
and then sometimes the security it may not be that great in some of those areas.
Yeah.
Hell, there are sections of Detroit that have no power or water to them.
Yeah, no, it's
Like entire city
Yeah,
blocks,
yeah.
at least with neighborhoods mostly.
yeah, and like I said, to be fair,
In a city in America, it's crazy to me.
we've got some people that are homeless and are deserving of help, and
Even
we
here,
should help
even
them.
here locally, yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, well, we've also got dirtbags in that mix that are
Of
homeless
course.
and are just using.
And that goes for everything.
yeah. So there's dirtbags and everything, and unfortunately, they kind of set the tone for a whole group of people.
Do you remember when you could get on a Greyhound here in town?
I personally have not, but I
I
have.
thought you still could. There's an Amtrak and a Greyhound, right?
Well, is there?
I think so.
I don't know.
I've picked up my brother on the Amtrak train. Not on the train, obviously. He was on the ground.
When
But
I was a little kid, there was a Greyhound stop somewhere around here, and I remember that they took me to this Greyhound stop, right, where there was this dude out there begging,
yeah.
and he was panhandling. He puts a sign down after he realizes he's not going to get anything, and he walks around the corner and gets in a Mercedes and drives off.
I've heard a lot of stories like that.
It
happens a
baffled
lot.
me to see that.
I've always wondered if you have time to stand there all day. I don't mean like in big cities. I'm sure there aren't a whole lot of jobs. Well, maybe there are. I don't know. But if you have time to stand there all day, don't you have time to go find somebody that would pay you to do something? Because somebody out there will pay you to do something.
Right, you can always hustle up something.
I feel like you can. I don't know.
I mean, even here, there's always a factory job you can
Dude,
go
rake
back
some
to or
leaves.
something, anything. Yeah, cut some grass,
Yeah, anything.
clean out gutters.
Yeah, you can do
There's
that.
100 things you could do. Mm-hmm. Hell, you could chimney sweep, really.
Yeah.
Nobody want to get dirty. They're getting soft.
It always reminds me of Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dude's dancing on the roof,
Yeah.
singing that song.
Yeah. He's so happy to be there.
Man, was that Dick Van Dyke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's when entertainment feels so much more wholesome, you know?
It was.
God.
Yeah.
You remember that old movie with Don Knotts?
When he was the fish?
Yes.
How did I know you were talking about that movie?
I don't know. I don't even know.
I
how
thought he
you-
was going.
The Incredible Mr. Limpet.
That's it.
That was a good
such
movie.
A good movie.
It was a
man.
good movie.
I thought he was going for the Ghost of Mr. Chicken.
That's a good one too, though.
I haven't seen that.
And they used Paul
Really?
Bettany.
That's a good Halloween. That's a good family friendly Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
watch.
So is the one about the fish. I forgot about that movie.
It's a good
I,
movie, man.
I think I had that on VHS and I watched it probably
Oh, man.
50 times.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, you've heard the.
I watched that more than Pee Wee Herman, actually.
Oh my god.
Oh really?
With the one with the bike.
Wore
Pee Wee's
that
Big
thing out.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, you've heard the quote because the guy he's up there giving a speech or something, and he's real awkward, and the guys in the audience going, "That a boy, Luther."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I tell you what, this is, we've been about an hour and we want to keep our episodes a little bit short. So I tell you what we're going to do. This will be episode 1 of human beginnings of civilization and or consciousness, I guess. So, how about you hang out with us next weekend?
Sounds great.
Or maybe sometime in the week we might do it, but we'll continue this talk because this can go in all kinds of different directions.
This is a good one. It's got a good flow to it. So definitely to be continued.
Well, it's interesting too. I think it can go to so many different directions.
Yes,
I appreciate y'all's hospitality.
No, man, very happy to have you for sure.
Y'all have been excellent hosts.
very cool.
Everybody kind of has their own perspective and way of presenting things, and it's good. Nice job, everybody.
Yeah. Wonderful.
All right. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. We always appreciate you listening. I seriously mean that. Episode 7, Studio Phoenix. Send us an email at studiophoenix99@gmail.com. Twitter feed at studiophoenix99. I will hopefully put out a couple new episodes this week, maybe a William Cooper, maybe a solo. I need to do one of those. But we will... talk to you guys next week, and thanks a ton for joining us. I am Phoenix.
And I'm Vic.
And who are you, sir?
I'm just a regular guy, man.
Awesome. That is Dylan, and we will talk with you guys soon. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to Studio Phoenix. We're living in a fake, corrupt world, and we're being controlled. So we fight with each other, hate each other, and most of it goes unnoticed. But not to us. And no matter how controversial the subject, we will be talking about it and keeping it real and raw. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter at Studio Phoenix 99. And for questions or comments, send an email to studiophoenix99@gmail.com. Till next time, keep your head up and your eyes open. Especially the third one.